AK gonna wait out his time and then we're gonna send in Arcanine, the opponent not wanting to get farmed down, switch out into your Yveltal. And if your Yveltal don't know about Arcanine's electric coverage, my god, they're about to find out. Welcome back to the home of Shadow Pokemon. Today we have an absolute treat for you all. Huge shout out to AK, Akchilywilly repping that triple Shadows in the Open Master League. AK isn't just running Shadows, he's running incredibly spicy Shadows at that. We sometimes see Tyranitar on bite, looking to fast move pressure down. He's using a level 40 Legacy Smackdown Tyranitar, looking to catch them flyers like Lugia and Ho-oh. And then we've got an Arcanine. I've never seen this thing in the Open Master League, but there's plenty of steel for it to feast on. We then got a level 51 Best Buddy Metagross as our closer. So without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we see Arcanine into Melmetal. Our Fire Fang's gonna tear this opponent apart. These battles are around 2000 ELO, so we're probably gonna see some underpowered Pokemon, the occasional questionable play, but entertainment will be guaranteed. AK tanked the first Rock Slide. He looks to catch Rock Slide number 2 on Metagross. The game doesn't let him switch out. However, we have got early shield advantage. We come into our Shadow Metagross. We farm up fire on CMP. Great play there from AK. This should be securing the knockout. The opponent actually commits the final shield. Holy smokes, they must be weak to Metagross. AK gonna shield the first superpower as it will do the most damage. We can tank the second, commit to the full bullet punch farm down, and then something is gonna get nuked. The opponent pivots out into Dragonite. Dragonite unshielded isn't gonna appreciate this Shadow Meteor Mash. The opponent near gets one shot. AK then snipes with his Shadow Tyranitar. The opponent's got Garchomp in the back, and this is definitely not what Tyranitar wants to see. The opponent only goes for a Sand Tomb. We should survive this, however that did a lot of damage. Shadow Tyranitar isn't the bulkiest, this one's only level 40. We return fire with the crunch. We get the defense shot. The opponent going to Dragon Tail farm us all the way down. However, we've saved our shield. AK played this very smartly. We shield up the next Sand Tomb. The Dragon Tails are resisted. Metagross gets the bullet punch farm down. Back out comes Melmetal. We bullet punch that down as well, and we're off to a very impressive 1-0 start. Moving on to the next one. The absolute dream lead, Arcanine into Magnezone. The opponent getting absolutely shredded by the Fire Fangs. AK shields up a potential wild charge. The opponent full sends it, then pivot out into Dragonite. AK looking to debuff with the Psychic Fangs. The opponent shields it up. Now Tyranitar, even at level 40, is going to tear through this opponent. AK going to be forced to shield up the double super effective superpower to maintain alignment. The opponent does throw Tyranitar smacks all the way down. If Magnezone does return, which it does, they definitely aren't going to appreciate this crunch. They're already in the yellow. AK sends the crunch. The opponent lets it go, saving their shield for Mewtwo, and Mewtwo's going to have a pretty rough time of it. Tyranitar already at crunch number 2. This will be getting the final shield off the opponent. Is Shadow on Shadow crime. These smackdowns are melting the opposing Shadow Mewtwo. The opponent throws the side strike. That doesn't knock out AK. Throws one more smackdown. We're now 1 away from the crunch. We pivot out into Arcanine to force Mewtwo's energy. Side strike returns us to our Pokeball. However, we can come in to the Tyranitar. We're only 1 smackdown away from the crunch, and Metagross is going to have a nice rest on the bench, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we lead Shadow Arcanine into Cabalion, the Battle of Spice. However, we have the typing advantage. The opponent builds up some energy, pivot out into Gyarados if the opponent is counting on no. This is only a Psychic Fangs. The opponent's counting on point. We lower their defense, send out Tyranitar. Whoa, these smackdowns are chunking. However, likewise, these waterfalls really chunking. We probably wouldn't survive an Aqua Tail, so AK does shield. To maintain alignment, back out comes Cabalion. It looks like a CMP type crunch is resisted. The opponent does no shield. However, they do dump their energy, so this is advantageous for us. Sacred Sword, double super effective. The opponent went for a very nice undercharge. That was probably a no bubble, however, as it's double super effective. Cabalion only got 1 extra double kick. It's Primarina in the back. We're going for the debuff with the Psychic Fangs. The opponent commits that final shield, and now Metagross looking primed to sweep. We will be resisting all moves unless this Primarina is on Hydro Pump. AK gonna commit a last second shield. It's only a Moonblast, however we're gonna leave with the back-to-back Meteor Mash. I think we're actually 1 away. AK throws 1 more bullet punch. Cabalion now 1 away from the Sacred Sword. However, that probably wouldn't knock out, and they're definitely not going to reach it. Resisted Meteor Mash, going to be all she wrote. Very nicely done. In the next battle, we lead Shadow Arcanine into a Purified Lugia. I'm not going to lie, that looks pretty cool. For a Purified Pokemon, Arcanine has that Wild Charge coverage. The opponent pivots out into their own Shadow Tyranitar. Holy smokes, the Battle of Spice. We throw the Psychic Fangs. The opponent commits no shields. They're also on SmackDown. How often are you going to see two Legacy SmackDown Shadow Tyranitars in the same battle? AK shielded up the crunch, committed to the Bullet Punch farm down. The opponent's final Pokemon is a Solgaleo. Holy smokes, the opponent's running a spicy team. The opponent shielded up the Meteor Mash, fearful of the Earthquake. AK doesn't commit to the Earthquake the second time. He fires off the next Meteor Mash. The opponent commits the final shield, then pivot out into Lugia after banking a boatload of energy. Shadow Metagross though holds strong, makes one final Meteor Mash, and that does huge damage. We then look to snipe with Tyranitar. Tyranitar does resist all moves. Aeroblast doesn't do a lot, even to our level 40 Tyranitar. We then smack all the way down, back out comes Solgaleo. AK just needs to save his final shield for his Arcanine, which is exactly what he's doing. Ironhead returns Tyranitar to his Pokeball. Arcanine is going to resist the Fire Spins, and our Fire Fangs are going to melt this Solgaleo. We can easily shield out whatever they throw. They go for the Psychic Fangs. We commit the final shield. We've got the Wild Charge locked and loaded, and that is going to be a good game. GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we lead Shadow Arcanine into Rayquaza. If we actually survive long enough to reach a Wild Charge, that will probably one-shot the super squishy Rayquaza. These Dragon Tails melting our Arcanine. AK gonna tank the Brutal Swipe, and we're left deep in the red. AK doesn't commit to the Wild Charge, but let's see if Rayquaza commits a shield. Yes, they do. We now see the aggressive pivot into Tyranitar. The opponent needs to get out. They do not. AK gonna commit a shield on the Brutal Swipe. The opponent now sends out Thunderous. Holy smokes, they're weak to this Tyranitar. AK fires off the crunch. Does the opponent commit that final shield? Yes, they do. We don't get a defense drop, but these smackdowns are melting through the opponent. AK commits his final shield on the Thunderbolt. Tyranitar now going to be able to smack all the way down. If Rayquaza does return, we're just going to delete it with a crunch. Back out comes Rayquaza. What is that final Pokemon? It's Mewtwo though, triple weak to this Tyranitar. AK looking to go for the crunch. We bank it, we don't throw. We pivot out into Arcanine. That gets farmed down. Holy smokes, this thing has Shadow Ball. We could be in trouble. Back out comes Tyranitar. Mewtwo survives the crunch. We get Psycho Cut Down, moment of truth. Is this a Shadow Ball? Yes, it is. However, Metagross holds strong and we managed to win a very close game. AK starting the set with a very impressive 5-0. Let's go. Moving into the next set, we lead Arcanine into Melmetal. Not the best lead. As we've already seen, Rock Slide near one-shots. The opponent pivots out into a Charmer, which is ironically a much better matchup for us. We bank a boatload of energy, then pivot out into Metagross. Metagross does resist everything. Psyshock does absolutely nothing. Metagross going to commit to the Bullet Punch farm down. Back out comes the Tin Can, and we're going for the Meteor Mash bait. The Tin Can craps its pants, putting up a Protect Shield. AK this time not even committing to the next Earthquake. The opponent, if they're counting, will no shield. The opponent evidently needs to go to school, learn to count. That's essentially my top tip. If you want to get out of the 2000 ELO range and get towards Legend, counting is really important. The opponent going to be taking us out with the resisted Rock Slide. AK sends back out Arcanine. Looks like he's pausing, waiting to see if the opponent attempts to switch. They do switch. They send out Dragonite, and this is going to be game over. AK still has 2 Protect Shields to hide behind, so we are going to start shielding. The opponent probably going to go straight Dragon Claw, but it doesn't really matter. By the time we smack this all the way down, we're going to reach back-to-back crunches before Melmetal reaches 2 moves. Back out comes Melmetal, and we're going straight for the crunch. The win con at this point for the opponent is reach back-to-back charge moves, 1 to take care of Tyranitar and 1 to take out Arcanine. The opponent isn't at back-to-back. This Rock Slide, even resisted, takes us out. We've got the Wild Charge locked and loaded, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one, we lead Shadow Arcanine into Shadow Mewtwo. We probably are going to be getting one shot by a Side Strike. Let's see if AK attempts to make a catch. He actually goes straight for the Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs is resisted, however Mewtwo commits a shield, these Fire Fangs tearing him apart. Mewtwo is doubled up on charge moves. We shield this first Side Strike. We pivot out into Tyranitar to catch the second. Really nicely done by AK. However, Tyranitar not a particularly good safe switch, and this is exactly why. There's plenty of things that can really wall Tyranitar. They bring in Excadrill. We make the crunch. If this goes unshielded, it's going to do a lot of damage. The opponent still farming up. What the heck are you doing, Mr. Opponent? Tyranitar gets the resisted smackdown. The opponent then just concedes. I've got no idea what that was, but we're going to take it. Moving on to the next one. Dreadful lead. However, luckily for us, this Groudon is on Dragon Tail. If it was on Mudshot, it'd probably sweep our team. AK fires off the Psychic Fangs. The opponent lets it go, and these Fire Fangs are really chunking. That would be probably because this isn't even a 4000 CP Groudon. I don't even think this is level 40. Perhaps it's like level 38. So Arcanine gets the Fire Fang farm down at a cost of 1 shield. The opponent now sends out Giratina. They shield up the Psychic Fangs. They are going to be able to Shadow Claw farm us all the way down. However, Tyranitar going to be a pretty good wall to all this energy unless they've got Dragon Pulse. The opponent's final Pokemon is Mewtwo, and Tyranitar now looking to feast. Tyranitar fires off the crunch. The opponent shields it up, and we see a great pivot into Metagross. I just no shield this. If they Shadow Ball us, so be it. The opponent full sends the Focus Blast. That near one-shots us. The opponent now forced to dump the remainder of the energy. We can smack this thing all the way down, and that Giratina is about to eat a crunch to the face. We smack down the Mewtwo. Back out comes the Giratina. Do they have Dragon Pulse? Are we going to call it? It's just an ominous wind. The opponent gets the boost, but I really don't think any boost is going to save them. The opponent fires off one more ominous wind. Tyranitar shrugs it off. We make the crunch. Does the boost mean Giratina's going to survive? Yes, it does. However, a couple more smackdowns are going to get the job done, and we win another game. I'm sure someone's going to comment down below. If you look to the top of the screen, it looks like we've got 2 videos overlaying on each other. I've got no idea why it's like that. But with the new layout that King GBL did send me, I've actually got to make this video in a separate app. So by the time that compressed, it took like 45 minutes and it's come out like this. I hope it's not too annoying for everyone. You can still see what's going on, and apparently my editing skills aren't the best. But getting into this next battle, we led Arcanine into Mewtwo. We shielded the first Side Strike, caught the second on Tyranitar. The opponent answers with Mamoswine. The smackdowns are neutral and they're doing a lot of damage. The opponent fires off the Avalanche on CMP. AK allows Tyranitar to go down. Both our remaining Pokemon hit this Mamoswine for super effective with our fast moves. I believe this is just an Avalanche. Arcanine not the bulkiest, but we do survive that just about. We then Fire Fang all the way down. We've got hardly any health. Back out comes Mewtwo, and this time AK full sending the Wild Charge. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. They get one shot. It's Melmetal in the back. Metagross should be in a pretty good position. The opponent needs to go for superpowers. They full send the superpower the first time. However, that lowers their own defense. AK just going to fire off the Meteor Mash. Shadow Metagross hits really hard. The opponent calls the bait. We was actually one short of the Earthquakes. A nice counting from the opponent. They fire off the next superpower. That doesn't take us out. However, this Melmetal now getting shredded by the bullet punches. AK can allow this move to go through. The opponent now triple debuffed on defense. 2 Fire Fangs enough to take another dub. Nicely done. In the next battle, we lead Shadow Arcanine into Garchomp. Hopefully this isn't a Mudshot variant. It is a Mudshot variant. Oh dear, is Garchomp about to sweep? The opponent goes straight for the Sand Tomb, so this does make our life somewhat easier. We no shield. We then return fire with the Psychic Fang. Psychic Fang not going to do a lot, but it is going to get a very vital debuff. The Fire Fangs are now adding up. AK not going to shield the second Sand Tomb. That takes care of Arcanine. We now come into Metagross. Metagross also not going to appreciate this Mudshot user. AK not going to shield the first Sand Tomb. That does quite a lot of damage. Can we farm down before the next one? We cannot. AK sitting in a dreadful spot. We are going to have to shield up a Sand Tomb, which is pretty brutal. We do Bullet Punch farm them all the way down. The opponent now sends out A Yveltal, we're going straight Meteor Mash, draws a Protect Shield, we're almost at the second. We then look to catch the Dark Pulse on Tyranitar, the opponent doesn't throw, they farm up to what could be a Focus Blast. We do respect it and the opponent full sends the Focus Blast. They've now got their own Metagross in the back and this should be pretty much game over for us. We fire off the Crunch, the opponent shields it up. Probably the only win con for us is if Metagross gets too greedy. The opponent doesn't get greedy. They take us out with the Meteor Mash. There's no way we can take them out. We need to Earthquake to take out this Metagross. AK goes for the Meteor Mash. I doubt this KOs. Even if it does, we're going to get snarled down. The opponent survives on 1 HP and a Dream. And unfortunately, the Dream 5-0. It doesn't quite happen. So we're going to go 4-1 in set number 2. We've got a longer video for you all today, so getting into set number 3, Arcanine into Metagross, you love to see it. The opponent pivots out into Giratina, AK looking to debuff this opponent with the Psychic Fangs, then you already know it's TTar time. The opponent shields up, fearful of a Crunch, and here comes Tyranitar, the Smackdowns. Now absolutely chunking. Does the opponent have Dragon Pulse? They do not. They fire off the Ominous Wind, fishing for the boost. They don't get a boost. We can now just no-shield everything. There's no chance they're on Ominous Wind and Dragon Pulse. The opponent going for boost after boost and Tyranitar just absorbing all of this energy. We then smack them all the way down. When Metagross does return, they're not going to appreciate these crunches. Tyranitar fires off the first crunch. The opponent lets it go. They near get one shot. We can't smack them down, unfortunately. Metagross holds strong. They bullet punch farm us down. We snipe with a Fire Fang. And the opponent's running ABA Steel. Whoa, these Fire Fangs are chunking. AK Akchilywilly can just shield up the rock side. He's hit the Psychic Fangs. He's going to no bubble. The opponent should be top left and they actually shield it up. They're not going to make another move and they concede the match. Arcanine absolutely going off. Let's go. Big yikes. Arcanine into Swampert. In case you're wondering how we beat Swampert, you just top left. We absolutely don't. Moving swiftly on. Arcanine into Dragonite. We aggressively switch in Tyranitar. The opponent stays in. Switch out into Gyarados. Is this triple flyers? AK going straight for the crunch. The opponent shields it up. We get the defense drop. Does this now mean we can shield once and smack all the way down? Looking at the health, it's going to be close. Come on, Tyranitar. Do we get there? Yes, we do. If Dragonite returns, I'm going to call triple flyers. Holy smokes, it's actually their own Tyranitar. We're going straight for the neutral Stone Edge. The opponent shields it up. They're also on SmackDown. I thought Legacy SmackDown Tyranitar was pretty spicy, apparently around 2000. ELO is pretty common as this is now the second we've seen. Metagross pretty comfortable in this matchup as we do resist the SmackDowns. We then anticipate the switch. Great play from AK. We're just going to no-shield. Whatever Dragonite throws, they go for the Dragon Claw. Can we reach the Wild Charge? We can't, as the opponent does throw their energy. However, we're still in a pretty good spot. Dragon Claw takes us out. AK's just got to manage his energy well here, and we should be good to go. We fire off the Meteor Mash. This is going to take care of the Dragonite. We should be able to outpace that. Tyranitar to the Meteor Mash. Back out comes Tyranitar. We make the Meteor Mash. And that is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we lead Arcanine into another Dragonite. Do we see another aggressive pivot into TTar? We don't. This time AK is staying in. We actually catch the Dragon Claw onto Tyranitar. Nice play there. Dragon Claw doesn't do too much damage. The opponent is staying in. What the heck, Mr. Opponent? I imagine we're now going to shield once and smack all the way down. Is it Giratina and Mewtwo in the back? Perhaps. We do get the full Smackdown farm down. We are pretty low. The opponent sends out Mewtwo. Come on, show me Giratina. Oh, wait, actually don't. I don't think Metagross is going to appreciate that. We fire off the crunch. That gets a Protect Shield. The opponent going to throw the Side Strike. AK going to commit his final shield. We are going to make one more crunch. However, we are now all shields down. Does the opponent commit the final shield on the next crunch? Yes, they do. The opponent not going to be able to farm us down. We now catch a Side Strike on Metagross. The problem even here is if they've got Shadow Ball, we are going to get outpaced. The opponent is staying in. Holy smokes, Metagross is going to get one shot. What the heck can we beat in the back? I've got no idea. AK waiting out his timer. We're going to come in to Arcanine. We Fire Fang down. The opponent's got Yveltal in the back. And if Yveltal don't know about our electric type coverage, they're about to find out. Wild Charge near one-shots. Dark Pulse will be taking us out. However, Tyranitar with a sliver of HP should be able to smack down the remainder of the team. One smackdown takes care of Yveltal and one smackdown takes out Mewtwo. Very close game. Moving on to the next one. Arcanine into Mamoswine, pretty good lead. Unless the opponent throws the high horsepower, they don't even build up to it. So AK is going to tank the Avalanche. That does a lot of resisted damage. Can we Fire Fang all the way down? Yes, we can. Arcanine leaves with a whole boatload of energy. The opponent now enters into Groudon. If this is on Mudshot, we could be in trouble. The opponent shields the first. They are on Mudshot. However, we are going to get off one more Psychic Fang for some valuable chip damage. The opponent double shields. Well, that's one way of getting rid of Groudon. The opponent committing very poor shields. AK can now send out Metagross. The opponent pivots out into Hydreigon. Whoa, these Dragon Breaths are chunking. We reach the Meteor Mash. Meteor Mash gonna be one-shot in Hydreigon. Hi Hydreigon, bye Hydreigon. When Groudon does return, we should be able to just shield twice and take him out with a Meteor Mash. AK gonna be shielding up both Fire Punches. We should outpace before the third. And due to the opponent's really poor plays, we managed to beat something that should beat the entirety of our team. Metagross makes the Meteor Mash. Shadow Meteor Mash, no joke. By Groudon, get wrecked. And Akchilywilly goes 4-1 in the final set. 13-2 overall. These weren't the highest elo battles, but they really were fun and entertaining. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you'd like your battles featured on the channel. A link to my battle submission form is down below. You'll all be pleased to know the leagues do rotate today, so you can play a league that isn't Master League and you're not going to see Bronze. Or just like to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.